welcome back to our channel for KB Designs. And today we're going to show you how we're building this, what we're calling the garden stool. And this is just a simple, about a foot tall stool. It's about 17 inches across and about 8.5 inches deep. Of course, you could modify that if you wanted the top to be a little bit different in dimensions, but in this video, I'll show you how I made this one, showing you both the woodworking as well as the work with the laser with the xTool S1. I've created some templates, some jigs that you can cut out with your S1 to help you build the parts that create the stool. So the legs and the stretchers. I've got the angles and the notches for the stretchers to be inset. So everything's pretty straightforward if you follow those. And I use a table saw to cut these features out, but you could use hand saws, you could use whatever tools that you have. So hang in there in this video. I'll go over the jigs and I'll show you how that works in the xTool software, and I'll show you the steps that I took on the table saw to cut all this stuff out. And then of course I'll show you how I use the laser to engrave the top of the stool. So we've got us a nice little design that makes it very unique. So using the templates that I've got, this makes it easier to replicate and build several of these. So you could take this project file, I've got it posted up on Atom, and cut out all the jigs that you need and make several of these for yourself and for your shop. So hope this helps out. So hang in there and we'll see how to do this project.
All right, so this is the project file. This is the most important page that I've got set up. And this is the jigs for the legs. And I just wanted to go over each of the parts, and I've labeled them. So the long side stretcher, I've got that label set up to not process. So the output is turned off. So don't worry about that getting engraved on the side of it. And you're welcome to do that if you want to. It might help you kind of know what this jig is for. But of course, this is the appropriate length, and it has the 12-degree taper on each end. So all you would have to do is just lay this out on the material you're using and mark it, and then cut to the lines. Same thing for the right and left side of the legs. And these are actually for a little bit thicker material. So 1 inch thick material, but it's 2 inches across. And again, I've put all the 12-degree angles on it. And these red lines are simply score lines. So on your, you wouldn't cut across, obviously that would cut it in two, but you could use those as marking lines to transfer onto the workpiece. So that way you can cut out this, the dado here for receiving this long stretcher. And then of course this notch here, you would just cut that out with maybe like a table saw or something. And that's what I did in my case. I just took and cut through each of, making multiple passes. And I set the height of the blade to 1/2 inch to account for this, this little notch here, and just pass that through and cut that out. And then of course, the most simplest part is this narrow side stretcher. It's just really just a short 2 inch by this 1/2 inch thick, but this little piece there that's going to sit inside these notches. So this is pretty straightforward, and I won't go over the actual cutting of these parts, but we'll go ahead and skip to the part where we're going to start assembly and the glue up. So I'll show you how all this would come together once you've got these parts cut out. So here are the legs that I've got cut out, and everything at this point is just a matter of doing assembly. So I've used a straight edge down here across the bottom, and I've got that clamped down to the bench, and I'm just going to line up the legs so that they're going to set square. So that 12-degree angle is laying flat against that straight edge, and then I'm going to set the stretcher in and just dry fit everything so that way I know everything's going to go together smoothly when I start the glue up. And then from there, we just start gluing things up. And after that, then we go to the top, to the seat portion, and we're going to trim that down to dimensions. So I'm here cutting the width of the bench, and like I said, that's 8.5 inches down. So And in this, I'm doing 3 tops. So I'm making 3 stools. So just going through each of the tops, doing the same process on all 3 of them. And now I'm using my crosscut sled to square off the ends and cut them to length. Of course, the crosscut sled makes things a lot easier in squaring up the edges, so it's a good tool to have. And one last finishing touch is to sand down and get all of the stretchers smooth where they join together. So here is the stool. I'm just going to take the top of it off. I've not attached that yet, but I do have the pocket hole screws drilled on the inside, and it's ready to attach. But I'm going to leave it off for now, so that way I can put it in the laser, and we're going to engrave on this surface area on the top. All right, so next let's load up the material in the laser. So I'm just taking the bench top here. This was such a large piece, we won't need any of the hold downs. But you do want to try to make it as square as you can to the gantry. So I always like to kind of run it up to the edge and just kind of look down at the back corner, and then that way I can see that my piece is pretty square. Another thing you can do is run your laser so that way the horizontal line is along that edge, and then just without pulling it forward or back, just slide it straight across. And if you stay along that edge, then you know that you're square, it's not twisted one way or the other. So we'll go ahead and set up and measure the height and get that done in the software. All right, so I've got that centered in the software. Now all I wanted to do is do the framing just to be absolutely sure that I'm working inside of the material. Okay, that looks great.
Well, that's about it. That wraps up this video. I hope this has helped you get a good idea of how you could use your xTool S1 to cut out jigs to help you in the woodworking process to kind of speed things up and increase your precision and accuracy. It's helped me out a lot, so it's helped me to build things like this and be quicker at replicating the cuts that I make and making parts more accurate. So pretty handy tool and a good example of using the laser along with traditional woodworking tools. I hope you have fun building this project, and if you haven't, please like and subscribe, and follow us for more projects and more ideas with your xTool laser.